Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Wade Bradford, and today I'm putting on my English teacher hat. I'm going to be basically critiquing and editing this essay. This is a student's essay, and this person has very graciously volunteered to let me analyze this essay. What I'm really looking at today is about sentence clarity. So this is an essay that has a lot of sentence clarity issues, meaning there might be grammar problems, maybe run-on sentences or fragments, or maybe there are just things that are unclear or statements that could be better expressed. So my concern is not going to be necessarily to edit it to make the sentences more eloquent or poetic or powerful. I'm just going to be focused on sentence clarity. And I do want to say that I'm using Google Docs, and I've copied and pasted this from another form. So the format's all wonky, and I'm not going to worry about the format. Yeah, as far as like the font size or the structure and the spacing, things like that. We're just looking at this for the sentences. So here we go. Descriptive essay. As far as I knew, SeaWorld, it was an amazing amusement park that has incredible animals that I was taken to by my parents as a child. All right, so we want to clean things up. Now, what I'm trying to do basically is show you some of the types of essays that I work with, especially if for the student maybe writing is not writing's not their favorite pastime. Maybe they are dealing with English as a second language, or maybe it's simply that the rules of writing are things that are new to them, and so sentence clarity is going to be, difficult. So one of the best ways that that I edit my own work, and I recommend it to students if this works for them, is that it's good to read your work out loud to see how things sound. Now, obviously, if you have a hearing impairment, or if listening is not necessarily the best way that you absorb knowledge, this technique might not work for you, but it can work for me. So let's tinker with things. So I don't know that we need as far as I knew. So we don't want to say SeaWorld, it was an amazing amusement park, because we don't need to have the pronoun there, because we know we're talking about SeaWorld. So SeaWorld was an amazing amusement park that has incredible animals. So we've got verb issues. So we have was, that is past tense. And then we have has, that is present tense. So we want to keep a consistent verb tense if we are starting with was in the past. So SeaWorld was an amazing amusement park, let's say with incredible animals. I'm going to put a period there. Now, one of the best things I can tell students if they have sentences that run on and get confusing, just use shorter sentences, break things up. That I was taken to by my parents as a child. My parents took me there when I was a child. So a couple of things about this. So this phrase that we have here, that I was taken to by my parents as a child. So we're focusing on this idea, I was taken to by my parents as a child. So that means that it's what we call passive, meaning that the main noun in the sentence, in this case the narrator, right? I was taken by my parents. But if we focus on my parents and what the parents did, my parents took me there when I was a child, then it's more active. So we want to have more active sentences. So ask yourself when you're trying to decide if it's passive or active, is the main noun or the subject of the sentence, is it doing the action? My parents took me there when I was a child, to be shown all the animals and the things that they knew, such as tricks, and were trained to entertain people, comma, they had other sea animals. Now I'm going to stop there, because we probably have a run-on sentence, what I call a comma splice type of run-on, where a comma connects two independent clauses. We'll get to that. So we don't really want to start off, if I've made this edit of when my parents took me there as a child, to be shown all the animals, and let's see, again we have to be shown. So let's say, for this sake, to simplify things, we looked at all the animals. Now we could make, instead of looked, we could say we observed all the animals. We were fascinated by all the animals. We loved all the animals. Anything like that. So we looked at all the animals and the things that they knew, such as tricks, and were trained to entertain people. We looked at all of the animals and were amazed by all of their tricks. The formatting's weird on this because of the Google Docs, what I've copied and pasted, and were amazed by their tricks. I can't type. Okay, so amazed by their tricks. Please just let me do that. Okay. Okay, were trained to entertain. They had been. Now this is passive, but I think that's okay. We could also say their trainers had taught them to entertain people. That would be more active. They had been trained to entertain people. I'm going to add the word and. We'll see if that fixes it. And they had other sea animals. Let's see. And the park. We'll specify what they is. And the theme park. Instead of had, I'm going to say featured. Now I'm getting a little too... I'm adding too many words for the student. I don't need to change that, but you know, I like to polish things up, I guess. And the theme park featured other sea animals that could be pet or gently touched. Okay. And if we're going to use the quotes, we don't need single quotes. Actually, we can use the old-fashioned double quotes. And when we have, at least in most cases, if we've got a quote and that quote ends the sentence, unless we're doing some kind of citation for, say, a research paper where it's going to have like a page number in the parenthesis or an author's name in the parenthesis, we would have the period go on the inside of the quotation mark. But now that I go back to this amazing water park with animals into 2 small tanks, so we want 2 to be just like that suggestion. And we might say something rather than into 2 small tanks, right? We could say maybe incredibly small tanks. But now that I go back to this amazing water parks with animals in 2 small tanks for their size. So we want to, right now, all of this is a fragment because we don't have this complete idea, right? We have, now that I go back, right? That's a dependent clause, and then we have this prepositional phrase with animals and 2, you know, so we haven't finished the thought. Now that you go back to this place, what? So there are different things that we could do. Let's see what we could do. Let's see if we put a comma. The next phrase is being trained for things that is not of their... we could say, I realized they are being trained, right? So hopefully the reader knows that we're talking about the animals. Let's see, so now we're talking about now. So now that I go back to this amazing water park with animals in 2 small tanks for their size, I have realized they are being trained for things. And since the things is plural, we want to say that are not of their, let's see, part of their natural habitat. Let's stop. When in doubt, stop, start a new sentence. That are not part of their natural habitat. Let's see, we could say these animals are being used to be pet like a dog, as if they wanted to be disturbed by humans. Well, as if they wanted to be disturbed by humans seems like a little bit like it's, I don't know, maybe sarcasm, like as if they want to be disturbed by humans, but I think that we should keep it simple so that the reader really understands our points. So these animals are being used to be pet-like, and again, since we're talking, used to be pet-like dogs. When I'm adding my own idea, but maybe it's not what the student wants, but this would be my editorial suggestion, when clearly they do not want to be disturbed by humans. Now that all of this is being reflected upon, I now do not believe that it is not as amazing as I thought. So we have two nots here. We could call this a sort of double negative, and accidentally you're taking away, I think, the point. So we want to take away one of those nots. Let's see. We already have the word now. Let's take out this. Now that all of this is being reflected upon, comma, the comma is a nice pause. If we've got a dependent clause like this, then we want to, let us know this, like, hey, this is a phrase leading into our main point. So now that all of this is being reflected upon, I know that it is, and we haven't said SeaWorld for a while, so let's say SeaWorld again so we know what it is about. I know that SeaWorld is not as amazing as I thought. Reason being, tanks are too small. I don't think we need reason being here. In fact, I will say this, even though a lot of people do it to sound academic, I've never seen a good reason for starting a sentence with reason being. So that might be my pet peeve. I think it's better to start off with tanks are too small. Notice I fixed the two. This is a run-on sentence. Look, we've got this suggestion. That suggestion up there said, hey, put in a semicolon. Semicolons are used to connect two complete sentences that maybe we've fused together by accident to create a run-on sentence. Tanks are too small. They are less than a quarter of the size of their natural habitat. Let's just take out that I. With more than one animal in the tank. Let's see, all being fed. Let's see, I'm going to just suggest that we take this out. So if we just have, right now, it looks like this is supposed to be connected to the other one, but let's take it out. I don't know that we need it. Let's say they are. Now, by adding they are, we avoid making it a fragment because we've got a subject and a verb. They are all being fed and taught to do the same thing, such as getting trained by humans to entertain people. Let's see. We could make that better. We could say they are all being fed and trained by humans to entertain people. We could really cut this out, but we'll keep it for now. I think it's acceptable the way it's phrased. It has been of my information that these big monsters are dangerous and have drowned human beings that work with them. So this is interesting because we want to have sympathy for the, the orcas and the dolphins. So calling them monsters seems like you're not on their side anymore. Now, when you say it has been of my information, that's a little bit awkward. We could say it has been, we could say, in my observation, comma, these big monsters are dangerous and have drowned human beings that work with them. I'll add the, and have drowned the human beings that have worked with them. Yes, they are a dangerous animal and is looked upon as crazy. Let's change this a little bit. So we have, we could say, and are looked upon as crazy. So if you have a Word document, by the way, they might give you these nice little suggestions in the little blue, squiggly blue things. Yes, it is crazy and scary, but these big monsters are being tortured. And again, I don't know about the word monsters, but I'm really looking for the sentence clarity issue. Are being tortured and kept with others and being forced to do things that isn't of their nature, which could cause anger. I'm kind of trying to fix this. Which could cause anger towards others, such as humans, and even their own animals, which was shown when the human was drowned. All right, so we have a sentence that's a little bit too long, and so it gets unclear. So we want to break it up. So yes, it is crazy and scary, and so since we have a but with a basically another sentence idea or an independent clause, we want to put a comma right before the but. But these big monsters are being tortured and kept with others and being forced. Let's take this out. Are being tortured and forced to do things that isn't of their nature. If we put a period here, whoa. Sorry. Let's see, where was I? That isn't of their nature. If we put a period here, as I was trying to say, instead of starting a sentence with which, we could start a sentence with this. This could cause anger towards others, such as humans. So humans is kind of the more important aspect, I think, of your argument, of your description. By the way, we haven't, since this is a descriptive essay, what we're not really getting is a description of these animals and what it's like to be watching them. So this is kind of quickly turning into an argument-based essay. And so remember that to use imagery to describe what we are seeing, have a vicarious experience, that's really what we want to have in this type of descriptive essay. So we haven't yet, I don't think you've said the names of the animals, and so I would love to see, are we talking about dolphins? Are we talking about orcas, killer whales? What are we talking about? So this could cause anger towards others, such as humans and even their own animals. So let's say towards fellow animals, fellow marine life, as well as humans, which was shown, and let's say instead of shown, like which has resulted, and we already said human, so and we've already said the word drown, so if we which has resulted in tragic deaths. So something like that. All right, well, so that is me looking at the first page, and hopefully that gives you an idea of the sentence clarity issues that we want to be mindful of. If a sentence runs on too long, it can be confusing, and sometimes it's grammatically correct. And so breaking things up into shorter sentences can be helpful. Paying attention to active verbs or active sentences instead of passive sentences is also a nice helpful aspect to include into your writing. And I think reading things out loud can sometimes help students figure out, oh, does this sound right? Is this clear? And then you can make it better from there based upon how the sentences ring in your ear, or if you're reading it quietly, how does it sound within your mind? All right, so that's all I'm going to show you for now. And if this has been helpful, thank you for watching. If you have any questions and you want to leave in the comments, let me know. And again, to the student that volunteered this, thank you so much for letting me kind of tinker with the first page. And hopefully this gives you some ideas of what you can do to continue to improve your writing. You've got a great topic, and I'm anxious to see what you will do with this and other projects that we work on throughout the semester. All right, thanks a lot. Bye.